You are now listening to Alberta Radio, bringing you the best news, music, and commentaries. Here's your host, Jason LaFace.
And you'll remember forever the stars, the sky, the moonlight. You are my world, all the things I wanna do with you. The night together, you're gonna get so much pleasure. I'll give you, let's give you, I'll give you this feeling. You are my world, all the things I wanna do. You're gonna get so much pleasure. I'll give you this feeling. You are my world, all the things I wanna do. The night together.
Oh yeah, that is my remix of Night Together from Vika Kova, which was back in 2011, 10. Great stuff. All right, so let's start off with our show today. Here we go.
Their bill has nothing to do with classroom size or complexity or making schools more safe. It's about restricting freedom of speech. It's about making sure that social studies teachers can't actually teach current events. It's about dictating what flags can be flown. And it's about naming schools because they don't want schools named after people they don't like Nelson Mandela, let's say. So much as I look forward to the Sam Maraish School of Ethics and Finance, the real issue here is they're not about banning flags. They don't want to ban the City of Calgary flag. Cut the crap. This is about banning the Pride flag. And they're just not brave enough to say that, especially in the week of the Transgender Day of Visibility. So you want to go after gay kids, you want to go after immigrant kids, you want to go after kids with disabilities, at least be honest and tell people that's what you're doing.
Well, you know, we got Naheed Nenshi, the big mouth, rat mouth of Alberta, crying foul because Daniel Smith has enacted a new bill to, guess what? Put order back in our classrooms to keep our kids safe from pedophiles like Nenshi's crew. Look at Naheed Nenshi and the NDP. We all know needle drugs, pedophiles. They chase kids with radical ideologies. You know, who came up with the idea of allowing drag queens in classrooms and libraries to teach kids about it's okay to be a boy that wants to be a girl and a girl that wants to be a boy, and then just confuse the shit out of our kids. And then what happens? It goes to big pharma, starts going in through these transitional cares. Everything is to mutilate our kids, and then it's to confuse our kids by putting other flags that are not Canadian or not Albertan in classrooms, which confuses them even more. And then cater to immigration, where it creates classroom complexities on language where teachers have no idea what to do because the province or leaders have not put, or the union, ATA, hasn't put curriculum in place to address these issues. It just inflates. So it's obvious. The NDP is completely out of touch with reality. They will chase your kid with a needle for a vaccination that will potentially kill or harm your child, and they will chase them with queers and steers and bring them to parades where they flaunt their junks at little kids. That's exactly what the NDP is currently doing today. So it's safe to say that we need to get rid of them, right? We need to find some means through the rule of law with Elections Alberta and with the province to address this radical ideologies, because it's not Albertans first. This is always about everyone else first, always foreign problems, always catering to the LGBTQ radicals, always trans ideology when there's not that many trans kids, and they're confusing the kids to make them think they're trans. This is exactly, they're creating the market by brainwashing and conditioning these kids. And it's sad that grown adults are doing this to our kids. You know, this is, pedophiles do this, you know, when they're sitting in a van trying to lure kids with candy. I have no respect for the NDP whatsoever or Naheed Nenshi, simply because of the fact that I have yet to see this man bark on an issue that has to do with Alberta first and not all these other things. You know, what's really hilarious too is the fact that the NDP in Alberta have taken a role. Nenshi's meeting with Sikh separatists who want to call some type of referendum where they can make a land claim, and they're not even from Canada. They're from another country. And Naheed, again, you know, but he is against Alberta separatists and people who seek independence. It's interesting. It's always for other foreign issues, always for other people. And that we are getting so sick and tired of hearing, because what's happened now in Edmonton is there's accountability, because it created a problem by addressing every other issue than our own. You know, even down to the point where the mayor of Edmonton, Andrew Knack, has appointed Jamie Blake Desjardins from the NDP as the mayor's chief of staff, right? So we know now what direction that Alberta or that Edmonton could be going. It's radical trans ideology, radical foreign ideology, radical this, supporting terrorist groups by burning the national flag in our streets. I mean, and that's what they cater to. They are totally anti-Canadian, anti-Albertan, and they just make you believe that they are for us. So with all the nonsense that's happened with prioritizing these new building developments and prioritizing foreign issues over Canadian or Albertan issues, is the fact that now in Edmonton we have over 4,000 people that are homeless, living in tents, spread out across the city, and the city is not doing a thing to fix it. You know, it's interesting. The city can get their developers to do rapid builds to get people from foreign countries into those builds, but they can't do anything to help our homeless. And they're always, we're projecting more of a long-term plan, more of a long-term. It's always long-term while people are freezing in the winter and then having to amputate in the spring. And you know, I guess losing a limb or taking your life through a government-sponsored program is okay, but, you know, we can't, the minute you say something against their little crown immigration program, oh my God, then it's all the name-calling comes out, right? Yeah, double standard. You know, you think about it, all these harm reduction programs that have been rolled out throughout Canada have just been destroying our downtown cores. And let's be clear on this. The business associations that are in these downtown cores are helping enable these problems by siding with these corporate morons who are destroying our downtown cores for what? So they can benefit one development? That's it? So they can take control of their downtown and do everything government runs, so and no businesses? Edmonton is one of the most corrupt municipalities that I know of right now, other than one in Ontario, Sudbury. But here, what they do, they even pot shot at their own First Nations people and Métis people by propping them up on one hand and then turning around slapping them in the face on another by giving a multi-million-dollar program and dedication to Wemekong, that's First Nations in Ontario, that has nothing to do with Alberta, right? You know, in traditional times, the natives would consider that, trespassing on our turf, right? Especially if you're coming from the east like that. That would have been an Indian war. But no, instead the mayor of Edmonton, which is the capital of Alberta, is just running the city down. The previous mayor did the same thing. The previous council did the same thing. They want their globalist 15-minute city regimes in Edmonton, and it's a sanctuary city. So I have put myself out there and said, I've had enough with this, because I'm tired of seeing our downtown communities and our communities in general being run down and our people come last, and it's always house everybody else first. So I am definitely putting my name in to run for mayor of Edmonton. We have a plan, and my plan is there's a few things I'm going to be running on. One is that the infrastructure, that all these construction jobs that are out there for infrastructure or upgrades that are just sitting there, have been taking 3 years to get done, that's going to get fixed immediately. The other thing too, homelessness will be solved in less than a year, and we are going to make sure that we shut down the left. There's none of that. We are still going to, be community minded to the Pride community, but we are going to direct the Pride community that if there's any radicalism, we are going to be denouncing that. There's no more of this. It's, you live in a country that you're trying to change for a rainbow flag and rainbow views, but when you look at it, it's targeting little kids. If you kept the kids out of the equation and didn't go into our schools and radicalize academia the way you did, I don't think anybody would have a problem with any of you. But you went from one thing, grown adults identifying as trans individuals, to targeting little kids to confuse them to become trans individuals, all for the profiteering of money, right? So it's just, it's quite something, to say the least. And we're gonna address that all. Now, right now, we have a few things we're calling out on the Premier of Alberta to act on because of the amount of individuals in Edmonton that are homeless. There's 4,000 plus people homeless, and that's just unbelievable when we're housing everyone else. And the vacancy rate in the infills is 40%. So we're making a call out for that specifically. And we hope that we're successful with this. So, just keep on tuning into, or I'll be posting on Facebook actually as we go through this, and we'll definitely be moving forward with it. I'm not going to give up. I'm tired of seeing people homeless. I am so tired of seeing our people. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And as I'm watching this, I'm seeing that all these people are being housed from other countries. And I'm sorry. I don't believe that's the right thing to do. And it needs to be said. It needs to be done. We need to do something about it and address it and stop that from happening. We should prioritize our own citizens first before we start prioritizing other people from other countries. And, and the federal government's to blame for this. The federal government blitzed our country with so many people from India that basically you might as well call Canada Punjabi now. Like, seriously, everywhere you go, that's what it is. They own everything. It's unbelievable how you gave ownership to foreigners versus your own people. That's so shameful. And then you turn around and tax your people the way you do. Unbelievable. Well, we're going to get back to that. So we got some more music. The last track I played was Vika Kova, Night Together, which was my remix. It's a late remix. And this is Glitchy and Own It. This is the Tomorrowland mix that I got set up. And here we go, here on Alberta Radio.
Low light, slow walk, every step, big talk, side eye, half grin, you already know where this goes. Yeah. Mirror on the wall, it double check me. Turn my head, my reflection flexing. Button up, crisp color on a mission. Every little detail, talk ambition. Walk in the spot like I paid the rent. Every glance I get, feel heaven sent. You can keep it down, I just keep my focus. I don't need a crown, I arrive, they notice. Steve up, just a starter. Deep rise from the floor up. Baseline in your chest now. You can feel the glow. I'm slick and I own it. Too sharp and I own it. Head to toe, yeah, I own it. Own it, own it. Own it, own it, own it, own it, own it. Every move, yeah, I own it. Every room, yeah, I own it. Every already know I own it. Own it, own it, own it. Own it, own it, own it, own it. Tick, tick, clock spin. Heart rate locked in. Up, never slow it. Say my name, you know it. I'm slick and I own it. Too sharp and I own it. Head to toe, yeah, I own it. Own it, own it. I own it, own it, own it, own it, own it. Every room, yeah, I own it. Every move, yeah, I own it. Yeah, you already know why I own it. Own it, own it, own it. Hold tight, you feel it. Take in, you feel it. Take in, you feel it. I own it. I own it. I own it. I own it. Slow roll through the crowd, that tunnel vision. Every eye trace lines like a new religion. Laugh in your ear like a well-kept secret. You want the key, gotta prove you can keep it. Confidence loud, I don't gotta shout. Written in a way that I fade in and out. You can chase trends, I just set the tone. This whole place feel like my second home. Hands up, that's your start up. Heat rise from the floor up. Baseline in your chest now. You can feel the glow, I'm slick and I own it. Too sharp and I own it. Head to toe, yeah, I own it. Own it, own it. Own it, own it, own it, own it, own it. Every room, yeah, I own it. Every room, yeah, I own it. You already know why I own it. Own it, own it, own it. Step out, still grinning. 9-9, I'm winning. Last look, you know it. Hold with it, I'm in it.
All right. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Bill 25 and Bill 26 that the UCP and the Daniel Smith, our Premier Daniel Smith, has imposed and has passed. So on both bills, one bill is to address temporary foreign workers and eliminate the fraudulent, all the crime that's going on with it, the embezzlement, the money laundering, the racketeering. It's just corruption. The program has been totally corrupted, and this is a federal program that the government has imposed on the provinces. So the province of Alberta is taking a role by creating a new legislative act or the bill, basically that undermines the federal rule. So it's putting Alberta first, and I think undermine is the wrong word to use. It's actually putting the federal government where it needs to be put, right? So yeah, what's happening is you have all these new businesses, and you have foreigners opening up new companies using the temporary foreign worker program, and hiring them first. So they're bringing their families into the country, getting them jobs fictitiously, running it through the program, saying that they're getting paid whatever, and it's just fraudulent. So there's some harsh penalties for those who are doing this, who are breaking the law, and we're making sure that the temporary foreign program is coming to a halt here. We're going to put Albertans first instead of continuing to run this program that allows other foreigners to get jobs. Now, the NDP will probably scream about this and say, oh, you guys just... But look I don't know what the NDP's priority is everybody else first rather than our own. And that's what the UCP is doing. We're putting our own first, Albertans first. We're not putting foreign issues right as the highest importance like the federal government and the NDP do to try and recolonize the country or whatever it is. And I'm being blunt about that because that's what it is. I mean, if people don't understand that the population of Canada is probably sitting at 65 million Canadians right now just because of immigration. When you see your communities, okay, and they get blitzed where it's like 3 of them to 1 of us, then you know that there's a problem, massive problem. And that's exactly what's happening in this country. So Alberta's taking a role to say, whoa, that's enough. Because look with all the newcomers who have come into Alberta, it's put a major stress on social programs and infrastructure and all this other stuff. I mean, it's school, healthcare. It's killing it. And the federal government doesn't care. They are just flooding provinces with newcomers just for a vote. And this is all towards their GDP. They believe that the more people get flooded into Canada, that it's going to somehow allow the federal government to spend more and use the money and as a floater, right? It's like one of these programs that the city of Edmonton has where it's a specialized tax where they'll put so much aside, whatever, and the program's for that, and it's to borrow money for infrastructure. And I think that's what the federal government's mindset is by just flooding the country with more people, thinking that it's going to generate more revenue for the country itself. It does. More taxes, right? Everything we do is taxed. It doesn't matter. You're a business that wants to succeed. No, tax. It's like the mafia. It's worse than the mafia. You know what I mean? So right now we need a lot of change. And I like the fact that Alberta's government has taken on the role to shut down the temporary foreign workers program, slap it with some regulations so that they can apply to the rule set and make sure that Albertans are getting jobs first. When I moved back home to Alberta, I wanted to take the truck driving course with Ballard, and it got shut down because it got flooded with newcomers. And the next thing you know, the government took a role where it was just, we're just going to give it to Ukrainian refugees and not Albertans. And I screamed about that. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, this is enough. We have to stop this nonsense where we're focusing on everyone else first. It's nice to help people, don't get me wrong. But look we shouldn't have 4,000 homeless people in the capital of Alberta while there's all these new builds going on and 40% vacancy and just hand everything to everybody else. I mean, you imagine, like right now, they're justifying hiring, let's say, what is it? The South Asian nurses, okay, that just got their diplomas. Oh, it's great that they got the diplomas, but why didn't you offer those programs or anything to our people who could have went to school and did the job and graduated and got somewhere? If I was the premier of Alberta or even the PM of Canada, it would be free tuition for Canadians. If you're born in Canada, it's free tuition. You're going to school. We need the people. We need to get professionals in the right places. So if we say there's a demand for healthcare workers like nurses, doctors, physicians, surgeons, then you open that up for free. And you say, look, we need to develop more nurses, doctors, and surgeons and physicians. And we pump our people into the programs to create more for our healthcare to put the strain off. But instead, the government's answer has always been, let's just find it foreignly and and they think they try to expedite the thing, but it's not. It's not doing anything. These people still have to come here. They still have to learn our curriculum. They still have to learn our language and then put some time in to get used to how our system works. But so you think about if we put a student into school, the time amount is the same. So why are we catering to foreigners all the time to give them the jobs first? It makes no sense. And this is all control. So I'm really happy that Danielle Smith has put this in place where we can focus on Albertans first. I would even push it further to try and get her to, if the premier would do this, is to give free tuition for the job demands that we need for Alberta. So if Alberta, let's say, we have all these courses for different things, but we should offer free tuition for the professions that we require that are detrimental for Alberta's infrastructure. So when it's healthcare, then we should open that up to offer kids the ability to become doctors for free. And the payback is you're locked in after you're done your tuition here and you graduate, you are an Alberta healthcare professional for a period of 5 years. That pays back your tuition. You're putting your time in return to make sure that we have. And this is the thing. If you keep that going, well, what happens is it creates a chain long term, and it's a rotating door. And we continuously produce health professionals that once we have a sustained amount here in Alberta, then we can start sending Albertans to other locations to fill the gap where it's necessary in other places of the country or the world even. But let's fix here first, right? So the government in Canada and in Alberta right now is we have to pay tuition, and it's everything for foreigners first. And there's so much of an easy fix to mobilize our own people to be more successful. You wonder why Canadians and Albertans are depressed after COVID. I mean, COVID just destroyed the country, and these guys are just continuing the charade, and they're doing whatever else to, because they got away with it, and they're still trying to get away with more shit. But you have to look at it this way. Our country is heavily depressed. There's a mental psyche of 30% that are being affected by the vaccine. They can't think logically, and they have no reasoning. We have a problem. It's a huge problem. So instead of addressing it and saying, okay, let's do this, no, it's just let's cater to foreigners. Like, it's always that. I mean, even the protests in our street, like I've been saying, it's not Canadian issues. It's never Canadian. It's never nobody protesting about all the homeless that are they're living in tent cities. It's not about the people are getting cutbacks on social programs because immigration's putting a stress on it because we can't afford to pay for everybody. Right? You don't see people protesting about that. You don't see protesting about what we should be doing as a community, or to address our own issues. It's always issues about other countries and issues about wars in other countries and issues about I don't get it. Like, why is it so important? It doesn't have these people flee these countries. They come to Canada and they bring their foreign problems here. And then now they're on our streets sympathizing with terrorists. And I mean, I'm like, what are we doing here? Right? And then in the summertime, we got the Pride Parade that flaunt our junk at little kids. Like, has Canada completely lost its mind? I believe it has. And that is big pharma, because I'll say this. When you compare Canada, U.S. versus Europe in terms of the use of big pharma prescription drugs and alternatives and natural homeopathies, the Europe is not even anywhere near using big pharma medications and drugs and synthetics like the West. And that's a huge problem. So when you look at the dynamics of what's going on, the corporations are all involved together, and they're just drugging people up. I mean, look at how many folks in Alberta are on SSRIs that shouldn't be. How many people are on max doses of methadone and Suboxone for opiate tapering, and they're on long-term programs like 10 years when they're only supposed to be on a 1-year program. Everybody's profiteering and off the backs of human beings, and they're pushing the human being as far as they could to get every penny out of them. And then they tax us, control us. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a farmer and his cattle, right? I mean, the cattle get more respect than human beings, right? So it just blows my mind at the behavior by the extreme left-wing individuals who preach about equality, love, and inclusiveness, but they are exactly no different than the Nazis were, with their Gestapos and telling you what to do. I mean, look at COVID, what they did. I mean, how many people got forced to wear their masks and get jabbed up or whatever? I didn't comply to nothing. Nothing. And I never got sick. So it makes you wonder, like, what is really going on? And in my opinion, I will say this. I think since 2020, when they rolled out the bioweapon, I actually believe that it wasn't even near an issue as what they blew it up to be. You have to remember, flu cases were zero during COVID. There was no flu cases. You had a sniffle, it was COVID. The PCR tests were not effective. They were only accurate like 40% of the time. I remember one time during COVID, we took 5 testers and we tested beer and stuff, and they were all testing positive for COVID. So how does that happen, right? And then we find out that the testers that were developed was actually from a previous scam artist that was trying to create a machine to test your blood in your home. I mean, that's a whole debacle. And you look at it all, right? People are dying from the vaccines that are mRNA, probably throwing a chip set into your body, right? And then all the people getting boosters. I witnessed it for myself, folks. One of my friends, and I've known this guy for like my entire life, and we were business partners for a while. COVID comes, everything's good at first, and he decides because he wants to go to a concert. Okay, it was the Boots and Hearts Festival. Because him and his wife wanted to go, they went and got a shot. Okay, not a big deal. Whatever, it's your choice. And he knew I was already protesting on the streets, right? And I'm dead set against this shit. So he goes and gets the vaccine, and I'm like, whatever. But right after, okay, within a week, he took a fit, tried to create an argument with me, a huge fight with me, right? So we didn't talk for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks after that, we get back together, and he apologized and says, Jay, when I got the vaccine, man, I had a head fog. I wasn't like myself. And he explained that he was lashing out at a lot of people. No reasoning, just aggressive, right? Argumentative and whatever. So it woke me up when I seen that. And I've never taken a vaccine since 1983. And I see all these people getting flu shots, all this, and that. And it's just unbelievable, folks. It's unbelievable how sick the population is. And then on top of that, like when you look at the dynamics of the cost of food and the cost of living on top of what they've done, right? AI driving the food costs up right throughout COVID and still today. It's crazy. But yeah, yesterday I was last night I took a time and I was on YouTube, and there was this 1 hour video of commercials from 1989 to 1999. It's a 10-year decade of commercials that used to play on cable TV. So I was like watching that for about a good 20 minutes, and I was just shaking my head because these are all Canadian commercials, and I was just like, what they did to our country and to America and other countries, trying to subvert our culture and who we are traditionally as a nation, they destroyed it. So what I'm telling people is, you know what? You just want a reminder of what we're trying to do or accomplish today is to try and put some order back in place the way it was before. And the thing, and that, because it worked, we didn't have all these issues today because we weren't screaming about them before and they weren't happening before. You have to remember, most of the stuff that's been doled out before our eyes in the last 10 years, in the last decade, has been all made up by the Liberals and the NDP, Marxists and communists working together with globalists, right? They want to subvert society. They want to control everything by the state. They want to get rid of corporations and not allow people like me to be entrepreneurs or try to be successful with a business. They want to control everything. So can you imagine living in a state like that? If all of a sudden these people get into power and everything's controlled by the state, that means people can't have small businesses anymore, not allowed to be crafters, not allowed to help each other out when the times are tough. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just, that blows my mind. These people are insane. So I tell people, just go watch those commercials and just remind yourself of the culture we once had that's been taken away from us, that's been subverted and ripped apart from our foundation of our nation that we used to call Canada. I'm telling you, man, it'll wake you up. It woke me up last night and it made me sad, you know, when I looked at the dynamics of so much has changed just in the last 10 years, let alone the last 30, right? But we just keep chugging at it, right? We just keep chugging at it and do our best. And yeah, I don't know. So anyways, I wanted to present a track today. And this is my Gowan piano tribute. So those of you guys know Gowan. Gowan is a Canadian artist, amazing pianist that I've loved for so long, ever since I was a little kid. A lot of people, you know. So I started learning keys because of this man. I got to see him perform in Sudbury in 1986, I think it was, 86 or 87, I think it was, and Sudbury Arena. It was great. So I wrote this track with a friend, right? Because I needed some help a little bit. So we put this together, and this is my Gowan piano tribute track that I'm going to play here right now on Alberta Radio. All right. That is my tribute track to an amazing Canadian artist, Gowan. And I know a lot of folks like that dude. I wish he would have put out way more music, but, I got pretty much all his whole collection and some bootlegs that were kicking around back in the day. But really, it's a style. It's a style of what he did with being creative with piano and keys and stuff. So me, it's EDM played a good factor in my life. It's some stuff that Gowan has done too, but I've taken it to the next level and produced with some pretty big major names as a ghost producer and DJ'd some of the, actually I've DJ'd the biggest clubs in this country. I can actually say that. I'm proud to say that. And that's when Canada was fun. That's when Canada was Canada, Everything was good up until 2014, 15. Everything. It was starting, we were doing things. It was, all the industries were starting to thrive. Canadians were having a good time. Then comes Trudeau, right? We all know what happened. The guys, they're crazy. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to Stay Free Alberta and all the canvassers. Congratulations, guys. We got the required threshold plus more. There's a comfortable cushion, apparently, from what I'm hearing. So we don't, the Stay Free Alberta cannot disclose the exact number of signatures that they have. However, once they had a comfortable cushion of signatures, they could just say, yes, we've attained the threshold and we're going to continue collecting signatures. So a lot of good folks are out there canvassing every day, getting signatures on the daily. I was out there, put 5,000 kilometers on a vehicle, drove across Alberta and got signatures from people who couldn't make it out, from the elderly, people who were sick, disabled, and people who were working shift work who just, they just couldn't make it because they're working. So we got a lot of signatures. Myself, I got, over 300 signatures to say the least. And I'm going out to get some more, which is going to be good. But I just want to congratulate all of us because we had to put up with quite a lot of crap from anti-freedom people, right? I call it. I've witnessed not witnessed, but I've seen on social media from colleagues who went out and canvassed and, one got assaulted, others were berated. I mean, it's just continuous harassment. I mean, it's just unbelievable the stuff they were doing to our canvassers, including myself. One guy tried to run me off the highway on the Henday. So it's just, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. The behavior of grown adults who think that holding on to the crown, who's just oppressing us as a nation, we've got to hang on to that. It's the same thing with First Nations. I'm a Métis person, so when I look at First Nations crying foul, I'm laughing about it because these same people will sit at their dinner table and talk about how they don't want to be part of Canada. But then when the opportunity comes, instead of saying, hey, maybe we should have some discussions with the people running the Alberta Prosperity Project or the Stay Free Alberta initiative to see maybe where we can come up with a solution prior to negotiations and everybody's on the same page and we all work together to strive to get rid of the crown, would have been a lot much better. But instead they go cry foul and, these are corrupt chiefs who are misallocating funds. There's some of the reserves are run down. There are people, there's street gangs involved. There are women are going missing. There's continuous drugs on the reserves. They have their own children that are homeless and addicted to drugs on Crown land, but they'll scream every child matters. It's just got to stop. But what's really interesting is the fact that, as a canvasser myself, I went out and I got signatures from First Nations and Métis people here in Alberta, and I was blown away. The first time that I got called from a lady and she's like, yeah, can you come and get my signature? I live here and here. And I'm okay. So I go and she was straight up First Nations from one of the reserves here in Alberta. I'm not saying nothing, but I was blown away. And she's like, we need this. And she goes, I know so many other people, Jay, of our people, our traditional people of the land that want this, that want independence, that want to be free from the crown because of what they did to our people. 100% agree with that. So, she was the first person to get to sign. And then it just started rolling after that. I had more First Nation folks reach out to me, Métis people. We even went out on territory without permission. I don't care. We're not going to say which territory, but we did go on territory as per request by band members so that we could get signatures, and we did that. And there was other canvassers that did the same thing, and I believe we also have First Nations and Métis canvassers collecting signatures from our people to stick it to the chiefs. Because the chiefs don't speak the way they used to speak for our people, on behalf of our people. They now speak for the crown. And it's always money, 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 gravy train from the crown, right? Like they're always depending on Canada. But we want to create a new partnership with Alberta where we could probably get a way better deal. We could probably create a new industry in terms of the provincial government, or the Alberta government, once it's become independent, to allow First Nations to create new industries in terms of forestry management, and waterway management, to make sure that wildlife in the forests are healthy, the waterways are healthy, and we're working with the oil sands. We already do this, but I think we could do more and offer more to our people if that kind of deal was to play out, because we are the caretakers of the land, right? Same thing with the partnerships in the oil industries. We're already doing that. Go up to Fort McKay. I worked up there, and I was blown away. The first week I was there, we did a traditional powwow ceremony, right? And I was invited to that. And the chief of Fort McKay, I was able to talk to him and one of the elders, and they knew my mom, and they knew my family. So it was really nice to be somewhere where you felt really welcomed. You're working for when you look at it in a sense, it's like our people, who traditionally don't want oil and sands industries out there, would be saying, "Hey Jay, you're working for the enemy," right? But I'm not. I understood right then and there when the chief explained to me that Fort McKay and other reservations have strong partnerships in the oil and gas industry, and it's a win-win for everyone. So that is pretty awesome, right? So we can offer a better deal for our people in terms when we move towards our independence. Now, I do want to try to answer the question about where are we going to be going from here? Because a lot of people are asking, are we going to become independent on the vote and this and that? And that's not what's going to happen. The rule of law, based on the Constitution, the Clarity Act, okay, if we go to a referendum and Alberta votes majority that they want independence, they don't want to be part of Canada anymore, at that point, it has to go to a constitutional convention. It has to. There's no skipping. If there's some way they can skip that process, that would have to be something that would be imposed by the by the Legislative Assembly here in Alberta to impose something in place. Now, I know that we have the Sovereignty Act in place, but the Sovereignty Act only prevents government overreach. So if the gun buyback program and the gun confiscation program the Liberals are rolling out, they want to take our guns and our firearms from us, right? So Alberta said, no, we're not doing that. Saskatchewan opted out because the provinces can opt out. So both provinces opt out, but now you have Gary Assange, who's a Tamil Tiger terrorist, who's, money laundering right now. This guy flat out said yesterday that they're going to force the rule of law on Albertans and Saskatchewans through the police. Well, the police are going to have to be mandated by Alberta. Now, I know there's a plan to get rid of the RCMP out of Alberta when I think their contract's up in 2032. And I would like to see them gone before that. So what I like is the fact that Alberta's taken a role of being self-autonomous. So we are starting to create our own police force. We're starting to create our own policies and regulations in terms of not being the status quo of the government of Canada, because they're just imposing their own authoritarianism. And I'm glad that we have a government right now here in Alberta that's taking a role to stop the overreach. However, I'm still curious to see how this will play out when the date expires for those who are, have to hand in their guns. Or what are they going to do? Suspend everybody's PAL? If that's the case, then Alberta will have to issue its own gun registry program. and Canada. And that, I think at that point that it will solidify our role as saying, Canada, screw you, you're not telling us what to do. And you have to remember, it's the people that are trying to control the population and tax us and tax us and tax. I mean, it's bad enough they tax the air we breathe, our asses. I mean, the necessities of life were taxed to no end. And the government takes our tax money and says the necessities of life from other foreign countries are more important than our own. Right? Tax us for it and then give it away to other countries. Anyways, the other bill, before we end the show, the other bill I want to commend the Premier and the UCP on is the classroom control and order. That's what I call it. Sending the DEI, making sure that kids are patriotic to our nation. Right now, it's the Canadian national flag at least once a week. We're removing ideological flags. So the pride flags and LGBTQ trans activism flags or any communist flags like that, all that stuff is going to be excluded because we have to start thinking about teaching our kids a curriculum of education and not ideologies, not made up beliefs by grown adults who are suffering some type of mental fit because they didn't get what they want and they don't have, they have no sense of reasoning. So they go to our kids and confuse the minds of our children with their own ideology, the whole trans ideology. Now, before I go, I'm just going to say this, I know that everybody, when we see the left, they're celebrating the Trans Day of Inclusiveness or whatever it's called. Now, the thing is how can you glorify something so big that something that's so small and such a small percentile of the population over your own veterans that defended this country, over the people and heroes who've saved lives of others? You know what I mean? Where's the real heroes in all this? So that's just it's lunacies. It's a circus show it's a freak show for me. And I'm glad that our Premier has done the right thing by acknowledging the fact that our kids come first, and to make sure that we are keeping a stable learning environment for our children and not confusing them with a political belief or ideology that's outside the scope of education. Now, I'm going to say this. The DEI education was brought in by the NDP in Alberta through Janice Irwin in conjunction with Quebec Solidaire, which is a Quebec separatist group, by the way. So, like I said, Nenshi's meeting with Sikh separatists. So these guys will play part and play favors with other types of separatists, but won't support their own Albertan brothers and sisters that are here. They'll call us plague rats. They call us sewer rats, inbreds, and rednecks, remember? So that's where I'll leave you guys today. Don't forget, you can follow me on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, Alberta Radio, and as well on Facebook. You can send a donation to Jason at albertaradio.ca, and those donations are helping build what we're trying to build for Alberta with a new media company. I'm taking my time right now because I'm observing everybody else, because right now is a hot game, and the industry is going to shift very soon, and I'm already prepared to shift. But I need some more money to build on that because, look, COVID destroyed my life. They took my business away from me, my home away from me, and left me with absolutely nothing. And I was homeless for months after the convoy. So I come home to Alberta, try to better my life, and I thank all the supporters who follow us and support us. But I really need your help, folks. I really need to build this to the next level so that it could generate a paycheck for me. And I don't have to keep doing this, right? Because this is a good platform we have, and it's just improvement as we go. So a lot of working through things, working through bugs and learning curves and getting to know more people and just realizing, where is our place, Alberta Radio for Alberta, as we move forward in the next couple of years. And I have a vision. I have a vision that's awesome. So I have a plan for myself, but I need the help. So again, you can donate or send an EMT donation to Jason at albertaradio.ca, or you can message me on Facebook and let me know that you want to make a donation, and I can give you some instructions that way. Or you could subscribe to our page either on YouTube or Facebook. YouTube, we're trying to get more subscribers so we can get monetized. That's what we're trying to do right now. So I am Jay LaFace, and I am glad that you guys joined me on my podcast. We're going to try to make this more rotational every day or every second day. And this is episode 4. So don't forget, visit my website, www.albertaradio.ca. Follow us on TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube. Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to leave you guys with a beautiful track that I am working on again before we go. Oh. People are calling me. Right? I could hear my phone going up. And they're like, Jay, we need you. We need you. There you go. See that? All right. Let's get to the music and end the show, folks. Here we go. Cass, this is Your Hands in Mine. It's my latest release, and I hope you enjoy. See you guys later.
Empty streets and a midnight park, but your voice was so damn loud. You said, trust me, just close your eyes. Every scar is a secret key. I felt the pavement under my feet start fading out beneath me. Are we building castles in the sky, stone by stone on borrowed time? If it all falls down tonight, will you still be by my side? Are we chasing something we can't find, or learning how to say goodbye? If it breaks, if it burns, that's fine. I just want your hand in mine. I just want your hand in We trace our names in window steam, laughing like none of this is real. Every promise a laser beam cutting through the fear we feel. You say nothing's ever made to last, but we can glow before we fade. So we dance on the fragile glass of the plans we never made. Are we building castles in the sky, stone by stone on borrowed time? If it all falls down tonight, will you still be by my side? Are we chasing something we can't find, or learning how to say goodbye? If it breaks, if it burns, that's fine. I just want your hand in mine. One breath. One breath, one step. Clouds wrap round our heads. If this is just a dream, don't wake me yet. Don't wake me yet. by. If it breaks, if it burns, that's fine. I just want your hand in mine.
Broadcasting around the world.
You are listening to the Great Alberta Radio.